Hey, what's up, y'all? This is former NASCAR driver Bill Lester.
Bob Cockers.
I'm NASCAR driver Natalie Decker.
NASCAR's Chief Hype Officer Mamba Smith.
And you're listening to Victory Lane.
Victory Lane.
Victory Lane.
Victory Lane Vibe.
Let's go.
376, Antron Brown is the Top Fuel champion.
Just praying for it. There it is. Raja Caruth wins it at Las Vegas. First career win, gets it done.
You stayed in the game, and it was just one step, one punch, one round at a time, and my guys had me a great stop, and we just executed. So there's more to come for sure.
His final time through 3 and 4. He's gonna do it. Bubba Wallace wins at Kansas.
Ready. What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go!
He is the man who raises the bar, who raises the stats, who takes things to stratospheric levels, and he's only got 3 corners now. He can see the crowd standing and giving him that round of applause. 8 times we've said it before. Here's a 9th for you. Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix. What a victory! Hamilton is back.
Bonte doesn't realize that every time he cusses, that's 10 minutes of my life per word.
I feel that.
And he also doesn't realize that I have to then hear that word 15 times.
That's
like
hilarious.
Each word 15 times as I go back and try to snip it out.
That's hilarious because you was cursing literally like the last, I don't know, like during the last couple of times last season. I don't want to hear that.
But you hard curse. That's not
no,
that's
Dylan. You no. I chill. You and I'm going crazy like the past couple of months, which rightfully so. I can't lie about that. Rightfully so. But brother, you've been going worse than me like the past couple of months now. Hey, can't lie about that.
That doesn't sound right. Anyway, we're gonna ignore all that. One of the running jokes I say every time is like we're gonna cut that out, and I never cut it out. So I'm just gonna say it now and get it out the way.
Yeah, the last two episodes I've heard. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna cut that out. Gonna cut that out. No,
never. Well, all right. Context, and then it'll actually start. Like context is like I'll always say that, but it'll be at like 9:30 at night, and then by the time the show ends, it's like 11. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm in the editing bay, and I'm like, that's gonna be trying to snip around this or bleep this out. I'm like, fuck it, let the people hear it. It just ends up.
you just curse. We just curse right now.
That's what happens. That's not that bad. All right. Anyway,
not bad, bro.
Resetting.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to a special edition of Victory Lane Vibes. We do not have the hostess with the mostest this week. He is out on a bye. Jarrett. We have myself. The calendar has changed. The host has changed. But the vibes are still the same. You have myself, Art. We've got Bonte back with us, and we have a special guest with us this week. Special guest, would you like to tell the people who you are? Give them a little bit about yourself.
My name is Joe Morganti. I currently live in Huntersville, North Carolina. Moved. I'm sorry, did I say move? I mean escaped from Chicago, Illinois. Wow. I'm joking. That's oh my god. Moved from Chicagoland area to North Carolina to pursue a career in motorsports. And thank you, appreciate it. And as of yesterday, this is so I never even talked with you about Arthur, but I now have a new job opportunity that I'm going to on Monday morning. I'm not going to talk about it.
Fair.
But it is within the racing industry. So it's dream come true. Congratulations.
Ooh, hey, I like that. I like hearing that. I like people saying their dreams are coming true. So,
right. Love that.
And above all else, Joe won the last Victory Lane's Vibe raffle. That is his crowning achievement. Is just being the selected name out of the hat. So for people that might be remembering, Joe was the winner of our raffle. So he won a piece of Bubba Wallace medal that he's now propping up in the background.
Yeah, he won the Bubba Wallace from Bristol 2023 Dirt when he had the McDonald's scheme and the Dr. Pepper scheme. The most beautiful cars that Bubba drove.
I think he ended up winning like a heat off that car, which is pretty cool. For almost top 10 in that car. So that what got a fire on one of your collection, bro.
Oh, dude! Like, I actually have to find a couple more of those hangers that you had to put it up on the wall. It's actually going to go right behind my computer, so I can just see it every day. Right. Exactly.
Because I remember when Art shot me with this one. So back, I think it was like April, May, one of those two. Arthur said, "Send me an address." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "What you'll see me?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. You'll get it." As Art does. Couple not that long later. Why did he send me a Christopher Bell sheet metal from Bristol 2024? I'm like, bro.
That's Vontae's boy is C Bell. He's a big C Bell supporter. So I mean, I saw the opportunity to make something happen for him. I was like, hey, I gotta look out for my guy, you know.
Exactly. I'll never gonna forget that. Like, I pretty appreciate you for that, Art.
Oh, all right. Enough about me. You know, I don't like being in the spotlight. All right, so Joe, we have a tradition. We have a little housekeeping we have to get out of the way. You know, every time someone comes on the show, the first question they get asked when they first come on is, tell us your favorite driver and how long and did you get into racing and what was it that got you into racing? So like for me, I always say it's like my grandfather was big into it. You know, my favorite driver was Jeff Gordon, still is to this day. My P1 is Jeff Gordon. So for you, who is that? What is that story like?
So I could just start off with the first race I ever went to was 2001 Brickyard 400. I can name pace car driver. I can name the guy who started shotgun on the field. I can name the pole sitter, which was Jimmy Spencer. Jay Luna was the pace car driver, and Buckshot Jones started shotgun on the field in 43rd spot. It was a super, super special race for me. It was my first time ever being at a NASCAR race. I had heard of NASCAR the year prior when I went to Road America for the 50th anniversary of the Road America 500 for the American Le Mans Series. We didn't get to see much of that race, but afterwards, because it rained, corners were flooded, and it was a timed race. We had no idea what a timed race was. We had never been to any type of motorsports whatsoever. It was a Father's Day gift from my dad. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, as we were about to leave the track, you know, sun comes out, track is starting to dry off a little bit, and in the distance, I hear the roar of a bunch of V8 stock cars, trucks coming off of turn 14, going up the hill, and I'm like, hey Mom, let's just go up to the fence, drive up to the fence, and we'll just see what that noise was. And here they come back around after they take the green flag, and I just have this jaw drop moment on my face. I'm like, I love racing. And I my favorite driver of all time has to be, and normally people would say like Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Jr., or Bubba Wallace. And Bubba's actually one of my favorite drivers, but my all-time driver is Kevin Harvick. I watched him from rookie year in 2001 all the way up to his retirement a couple years ago. And that moment when he crossed the start-finish line, I'm not afraid to say this, like, I honestly cried in Discord with a bunch of my friends. They're like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, no, because I know I'm not going to see my favorite driver on track anymore. I mean, you understand that from being a Jeff Gordon fan.
Yeah. No, like it's true. Like I was very emotional after that 2015 Homestead race, right? And on the one hand, it was like this exhaustion almost, because like he's leading at a certain points late in that race, right? I'm thinking, oh, he might go out as a champion, and then like it didn't end up happening, and then it kind of just like sets in that like this guy has been a huge part of my life as a fan, for 36 plus weekends a year. Like, I'm dedicating hours to watching this athlete perform and rooting for them, right? I'm sure you did with Harvick, right? You ride the highs and lows with them, right? And there's plenty of, I think, for both of those guys, there's moments in their career where it's like, this is amazing, they're world beaters, and there's other moments where like they're struggling and like they can be better, and it's just like, for that to suddenly be gone, like it is really hard, because of, like you said, the time that's invested in them. And I totally get what you mean about like being emotional afterwards. And like, on the one hand, like, you're kind of happy for them because I can't imagine like the toll that it takes, like being a driver and the grind away from your family and so many weeks in racing, all the media commitments. But at the same time, you're like, that's just, a staple of my life that is now gone forever. And like, you don't want to make it sound like someone's passing away, because it's not like that level of serious, but it is.
But it
like
felt like it.
Yeah, like that that shape that you've known them as, like, they're no longer here. Like, and of course they're doing other great things, but it's not the same. And I love a lot of the current day drivers. Bubba, Blaney, but like, they're all fighting for second place on my list. Like, no one can ever catch it.
Yeah,
it was crazy because it was the same way with me in 2015, when it was bittersweet because my favorite driver at the time, still to this day, is Kyle Busch, KFB the GOAT, and he ended up winning the championship that year. But I was sad, I'm like, damn, I wanted Gordon to win, because I was happy to see Gordon in the championship for it, because remember last year, not that last year in 2014, he got eliminated due to Newman. But
shenanigans. We'll just say shenanigans.
Shenanigans. But I was happy to see Gordon, his final race, racing for a championship. That was beautiful to me. But even though he didn't win, it was still beautiful to see one of my all-time GOATs on the track. It sucks, and it effing sucks that I never got a chance to not get a chance to see my GOAT in person. But it was still cool to see him race for the last time in 2015.
Yeah. And I've seen, when I lived in the Chicago and area, favorite, closest track to me was, not only Rockford Speedway, RIP, but also Chicago. We have Chicagoland Speedway. Saw Harvick's second win there in 2002. And obviously, I rooted for Dale Jr. as you do as a NASCAR fan back in the early 2000s. So I saw Stewart. I saw Jr. win there. Stewart, Newman. But yeah, it's like seeing your favorite driver just kind of riding off into the sunset, and the way that Harvick's career ended, it was so heartbreaking as well, because I don't want to talk about the COVID races, because oh my God, I get so heated. I get so mad because of this stupid winning you're in BS.
I'm still pissed about it to this day.
Yeah.
I'm still pissed.
Hey,
that man, between him and Hamlin,
I'm like, how the hell he got eliminated? I'm like, what the hell is this?
That man should have been a two-time champion.
Yeah, literally, he had like almost 10 wins. Then like a championship for it, because how dumb this point system is. It's insane to me.
I mean, if you really want to, your beef, if anything, has to go back to not Martinsville, but like Texas the week before, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
When like there's a rainstorm and then they put him back out and it was still wet and he wrecked, and I think Bubba wrecked in that one as well. And I want to say it was the same wreck, but like they were so good at, I mean, Joe knows this, but like for fans who may not have it front of mind, like they were really, really good at Texas a lot and a lot of races. And they were really good in that one too. I feel like they were in the top 5 or top 10 when they wrecked out. So like the idea that they were going to finish, in the 30s that week is not very likely. And so those are like the ones where you look back and you're like, oh, what,
keep in mind
race control or whatever.
And keep in mind, Harvick won. I think he won Texas like 2 years prior, like those last 2 years in the fall time.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm like, oh Holy crap. That's insane to me.
Well, look here, Joe.
happy.
If you need anyone to if you need a place to bash the point system, you're in a safe space.
Oh, good. I can get very opinionated about this.
Oh,
we have gone around many times on this show about the playoff system, how to fix it, how to revamp it, but the one consensus is always that it's not good as it is. So,
no,
the
best year was the first year.
Literally
12. What was it? 10 drivers.
It was 10. Yep, 10.
10 drivers for throughout the last 10 races, I believe.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Settle it that way.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, it made the most sense.
It did.
Or make it 16, but having win your rent in the playoffs instead of and the lead the season in points the first half of the season. When it comes playoff time, in my opinion, have them win your rent. That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm. I'd say like the regular season champion gets a bye in the first round because he worked his butt off to get to win that regular season championship. Let him get a bye in the first round. Let him go out, and so he could just kind of skirt by in the first round. If something happens, and he doesn't have to worry about it as much. Let him go off in the second season or the next round, and so on and so forth. Now, the final round, and I agree with Junior on this. Have the final round be as long as every single round, 3 races.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea of, I like the bye, but I've heard some people say just like that first race, right? You flip the order, so it's 1-3-3-3. So like the first one is like the equivalent of like a wild card matchup, basically, and it's just maybe it's the bottom, I don't know, 6 or 4, I don't know what it looks like, but like that bottom half of that playoff bracket, and it's just best finishers of like these bottom ones. Like let's say it's the bottom 8. I'm making up a number. Bottom 8, the top 4 of this 8, you move on. So like if you blow up lap 2, like you're done. But you should have been higher in the points to basically clinch the next round. And so like, and of course, like if you win, obviously you'd be finished ahead of everyone, you'd automatically advance. So I like that idea. I don't know how exactly you would balance that between the points, or not between the number of drivers, but like to me, that feels like it gives you that first week of initial excitement, right? Because like you're not gonna miss that if you're a hardcore NASCAR fan. Right. Any chance you had thought about like the fact that multiple drivers will be eliminated once, like it's a cutoff race. And I like your point, Joe, about like giving the champion something. Like I said, we have gone around on this topic, and I keep hoping and praying that we're gonna hear some announcement, but it's, as we record January 18th, nothing's come out yet. Bob has not tweeted anything yet. Shout out, Bob. Anything Bob. to alleviate my fears that's going to stay the same.
Yeah. Well, hopefully something will change. I mean, coming with this lawsuit, hopefully some good will come out of it.
I love this is kind of off topic, but I love how as soon as the lawsuit came out, how litigious NASCAR Twitter was. All of a sudden, everyone's a legal beagle. Like everyone knows the law. Everyone says, "Oh, this is slam dunk one way or slam dunk the other." And a lot of the people that are very hardcore NASCAR defenders are like, "Oh, there's no chance. They're never gonna get anywhere." Yada yada. And I'm just like, dude, your profile is like an egg. Like, how do you know the law? Like, I don't trust you.
Name, bunch of numbers.
Yes, exactly. I find that so funny.
No, for real.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for the season though, coming up though, but I'm ready.
So am I. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe, you mentioned at the top that you have a potential dream job coming, right? Mm-hmm. We're not going to talk about that. No. But you have, when we talked last month, you have a pretty extensive background working in racing. And I think that's a bit of a unique experience. Can you, share with the people just a little bit about like your journey? Like you mentioned, moving from Chicago down to NC, but like, who are some of the places and the people that you've worked with along your career so far? And like, what have you been doing?
Oh man, where do I start? First off, I want to say that when I was a kid, I wasn't a car guy. I knew about little toy cars. I had like a little McDonald's AJ Foyt number 14 car. And I knew of Days of Thunder, but I'm like, I really wasn't too involved in the car scene. Now, let's see, how long ago has it been? My mom and my dad decided to show me a movie from, I want to say, the 1970s. It's a Disney movie. About a little 1963 Volkswagen Beetle with the number 53 on the side, Herbie the Love Bug. And it was from then on that I became a huge car guy. And I, to this day, believe that if it wasn't for that little car, that I would not be a car guy. I would not be in motorsports, although I probably would have been down, been around racing, because I know my dad would have tried to get me into it. But if it wasn't for that little car, I would not be where I'm at. I would not be into the, have the interest that I have. Like I drive a Mini Cooper that's got a 3-cylinder and a 6-speed manual. And the first few months that I had that car, I went online to a company called Sporty 40 Vinyl, shout out. They're based out of the UK, and bought a vintage style number sticker pack for it. I thought I was going to get the same style that Herbie had, where it was the white background, black numbers. Turns out it was just the circle wasn't black, it was white. So it contrasted really well with the black paint, and the number was white too. So it really contrasted very well with the car. And it's perfect. I have number 53 on my personal car, driving around Huntersville, Charlotte, North Carolina, and I love it. Now, my journey through motorsports kind of started when my mom and dad, again, everything revolves around my parents, and I thank them, day in and day out, for showing me motorsports, showing me racing, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. But it started when I discovered, or when they took me to Rockford Speedway in Rockford, Illinois, to watch late models, bomber class, super late models, and the super late models I thought were seriously cool. From there, I went to another track when I was in high school. No, not in high school. I'm sorry. After I graduated Universal Technical Institute, I started working at a dealership. I went to another track called Sycamore Speedway, which is a clay track out in Sycamore, Illinois, middle of the cornfield, nothing around it. I raced a 1983 Chevy Monte Carlo SS with a 305 and a welded rear end. And I did that for about a year. I did like 5 or 6 starts in that car. And then at the end of the year, the car caught fire. And the whole engine bay was completely destroyed. And it was at that moment, I was driving somebody else's car at the time. It was at that moment that I had realized that it was getting too expensive to actually be a driver. I'm spending a full paycheck a week maintaining this car, getting it to the track, getting fuel. Right. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So I decided to stop racing. I always knew that I wanted to go back into it somehow if I had some kind of financial backing, or I made enough money or made enough FU money to actually just go ahead and do that.
Right.
I was then, not very long after that, I was contacted probably about the next year after I put an ad on racingjunk.com to say, hey, I'd like to, volunteer time on a race team somewhere in Illinois, don't care where, or in the Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana area, teach me how to hang bodies, teach me how to work on engines, transmissions, everything. I was then contacted by a guy through that. His name was Jeff Martin. He lives in, he had a shop in Lockport, Illinois. And he's like, it ain't roundy rounds. We're going drag racing. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Right.
The car he had was a Pro ET 1971 Chevelle SS with a blown 355.
Classic.
Oh, dude, a beautiful, beautiful car. He painted the car himself. He used to work at a Ford dealer. He painted the car himself. And I think it was like my dad and I did that for about 2 years, helping him out, helping this guy out, just having a blast. And ended up that Jeff and my dad became the best of friends. And so, if I didn't go to the track, my dad would always be at his house at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's like with a cooler full of ice and beer, ready to go through, for a day of racing. From there, well, actually, at the end of the season, I can't remember what year it was, but the engine let go. The rear end, the rear gear had 12 teeth sheared off of it, and the frame cracked on it. So I had, fast forward, I've been out of a job for a long time. I called my buddy Jeff. I'm like, hey, I need some work. Can I come down to your shop, work on the race car? He's like, sure. We'll pull the motor, do the rear end, weld the frame back together, did all that. And you know how they say that referring back to your education is a very good thing. It helped me out big time when it came to getting, after putting the heads on, new pistons, getting the cam put in, and torquing all of the rockers and getting all valve lash and everything else. That my school workbook that I still have to this day from Power and Performance at UTI helped me immensely, because the first turn of the key, that thing fired right up. No issues, no problems. And it was the coolest moment of my life. I'm like, I can do this. I can work on race cars. Between then and I want to say about year and a half to 2 years ago, I worked odd jobs and different hourly shipping receiving jobs and whatnot. But then I called Jeff back, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You still racing? He's like, yeah, I sold the Chevelle to Denny Hamlin's cousin. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I sold it to Denny Hamlin's cousin. And he's like, and the show Street Outlaws Memphis? I'm like, yeah, what about it? He's like, the green Nova that was in that show, the bright green with the black stripes down it. He's like, I'm like, yeah. He's like, I bought that car. he bought that car, and he now runs in an IHRA, IHRA no box, which is no delay box, and then he also runs NHRA super gas, I believe it is, when they come around to Chicago and or Route 66 drag strip. And I think he ended up winning. What did he tell me recently? He was in the hunt for championship, and then I didn't hear anything afterwards. Last I talked to him, he was in Florida for the winter. He promptly sold his body shop and just bought an RV and is going racing now. Fast forward to me coming down here, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. 2017, I hooked up with a group out of California called Low Budget TV. They used to be based out of Irwindale Speedway. And now they work with Speed Sport, or they're part of Speed Sport. They used to be part of MAV TV. They now go to like Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway, Bakersfield, Orange Show Speedway, just up and down California. I think they go to Evergreen Speedway in Washington, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. Then they go out to Colorado, and then they go as far east as Indianapolis, and that's where I met up with them. And I was a cameraman for them, running around the pits, trying to catch all the action during live pit stops of a 3-hour World Figure 8 Championship. These are outlaw figure 8 cars. If you've seen Monster Garage with Jesse James, he built a outlaw figure 8 car and he ran it at that track during one of the 3-hour races. And I've been working with them for just that one race a year since 2017, and I'm not going to stop doing that because it's probably the most fun I've had, behind the camera, being as close to the action as possible, to the point where I've been pelted with bits of rubber, some rocks being flown at me. I've had so much fun doing it that I don't want to stop. It's really, really cool. And then after I moved to North Carolina, I hooked up with Pit Road TV, and I ended up helping cover the summer shootout at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So like within about 2 weeks of me moving to North Carolina, I was up on the roof of Charlotte Motor Speedway, shooting the future stars of motorsports and Bandoleros and legend cars, seeing the likes of Keelan Harvick, Brexton Busch. You got McMurray's kid out there running around. I've noticed a couple of names from iRacing, which I'm a year removed from as of next month. Man, talking about my iRacing career, man, I could go on for hours about that, but I'm not going to. But yeah, after I worked with Pit Road TV for about 6 months ish. I told Tony, I'm like, look, I'm looking for work. And I'm going to continue to fill out applications, send out resumes. I'm like, I just need something to, kind of pad my bank account a little bit, just so I don't, go completely broke and have my car repoed. And he's like, no problem. You get something hourly. We'll go ahead and set you loose, and you won't have to, do anything contract wise or anything. So I had an interview with Spire for a parts position in their parts department. And that was about the extent of any type of phone calls that I've had with any team or any company that's associated with or part supplier with NASCAR or anything like that. Like, they were the only people that called me back. I think I've sent out like probably about 120 resumes. Mm-hmm. And then as of like a week after Knoxville Nationals, I sent a message just randomly to Kane Screen Print. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for work, need something hourly. Do you guys have anything open? I got a phone call the very next day from the manager there at Kane Screen Print saying, yeah, how did you find us? I'm like, I've known about you guys for a while, heard it from other podcasts with Freddie Kraft. I know his brother used to work there. And I just decided to just send you guys a message. It's like, hey, it was through the message us here for a quote section of their front webpage, and he just gave me a call back. And the next day, I went for an interview at the shop. Turns out the place is actually the screen print side is right out of Casey Kane Racing. So you got Brad Sweet's Wayne sprint car sitting there, and then down the shop there's Casey's couple of cars. There's 2 haulers in the bay plus an RV sitting in there. I'm just looking around as he's taking me through a tour of the place. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I have ever seen. Because then upstairs near where the I want to say their shop is at, the merchandise shop. Right out on the balcony there, they have Casey Kane's car from it was a number 9 dealer's Dodge from his Richmond win, his very first win.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you have two, dude, it's so cool. I walk right upstairs, walk by all of the shirts and hoodies and hats that we do for Flow Racing. And I look over to my left and I see that car there every single morning. I'm like, this is so freaking cool.
Is it all Casey Kane's winning cars, or like just different variety of race cars?
Well, there's only 2 cars that are there that are Casey's that he personally drove. It's his first win in the 9 car, and then he's also got a number 4 Red Bull COT all the way on the other end, and in between that is 2 of Brad Sweet's championship winning sprint cars. Now, all the way down next to his Red Bull car is actually the last midget car that Casey ever drove at age 13.
Oh, that's fire.
Dude.
Wait, his Red Bull car, is that his Phoenix win or just like his regular Red Bull car, if you can remember?
To be honest, I don't know. I do know that it's the Red Bull car with it doesn't have the supports for the front splitter. It's got the rear, the nice big rear spoiler after they had gotten rid of the rear wing. Mm-hmm. But other than that, that's kind of all I remember. I don't know if it was a win car or not.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And
then I've started, I'm still working at Kane Screen Print, helping with shipping, receiving, and whatnot. I still fill out applications. I'm still sending out resumes to other companies, that I want to fulfill my dream with. The big dream is to go working right down the street at Junior Motorsports, which is we're on the same street. Junior is all the way down on the say, like, if you're coming out of Kane Screen Print and you hang a left, go all the way down the street to a cul-de-sac. That at the end of that cul-de-sac is Junior Motorsports.
Wow.
Wow.
My you mentioned right down the street. I just wanted to share a quick story. So, like, for background, I met Joe in person to give him that fender. And I've been to Charlotte, but I haven't been to like that side of Charlotte, like where you live, Joe. Yeah. And so we're driving down the road, and it's dark. It's December, like it gets dark quick. right? Like 5 p.m. it's dark. It was like 7 or something by that.
Yeah.
And I'm driving down the road, and I'm on this just nondescript 2-lane country road in North Carolina. And
I know exactly where you were at.
If you live in North Carolina, you know there's a billion of those, right? In between like every city, every town. And then I look over to my left, there's like a clearing, and I'm like, holy crap, that's airspeed. That's 2311 shop right there.
Lucky
I'm just driving by it, and it just appears out of nowhere. And of course, like I said, it's super dark, but it's all lit up, and there's no one out there. It's a ghost town. It's holidays and off season too. And I was like, what in the world? Like, I didn't know I was gonna be passing. So I'm gonna tell you another story. After I met with you and we left, we drove back by and like pulled in because there's no gate or anything. I hope I'm not giving away security secrets, but like there's no gate there. So you can just drive up to the front door. So we go up and pull up, and I'm like taking pictures with my phone, and they've like all the Christmas lights. So there's someone reviewed the security footage at 2311. I've seen my car pull up, just take nothing, nothing shady, but like taking some pictures at the front of the building. It's a cool building. Like I'd never seen it in person, and then just drive back out.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
What kind of balloon is this? Like it's almost Christmas time, and it's like they had all like the red and green lights up or whatever, but like it was just one of those things where like it just appears out of nowhere. It's just like a clearing, and it's right there.
Well, it's kind of funny because Joe Gibbs Racing is actually about the same distance from me as well, and I had no idea. I know JGR is somewhere within the vicinity, but I've seen 2311 more than I have any other shop besides JRM and KKR.
Yeah,
and Tricon.
Like there's just so many teams out there, like especially close to you. My other story I'll tell quickly is I went to, I think this was during COVID, I want to say, I think it was 2020 maybe, but like I went to Charlotte to visit some friends. I stopped by the mall because the Lionel store is there, of course. And I was like, let me just look on the map real quick and see how close.
Lucky y'all.
So Charlotte Motor Speedway is like 2 miles, right, from this giant mall. I think it's Concord Mills. I think it's the name of it, the mall. So I go drive to the track because I'd never been to that track, and of course, it's not a race weekend. So like racetracks are not exciting places when it's not race week. Like it's very quiet and nondescript or whatever. But I do that, and then I go back to go to the exit. Turn around and go back to the exit, and I'm like, is that Hendrick Motorsports? Like, is that the Hendrick Motorsports?
Yeah, they're that close.
Yeah, it's like a quarter mile, if that, from the track. Like they could walk the car and push it to the track. Like that's how close it is. And so I go pull up, and I guess they at that time, I don't know if they are now, but like they used to do tours, and I guess at that time they were like closed to the public. And so they have like the big gates, like with you're not getting close to the building. It just has the race team numbers above it. And so again, someone else has footage of me like driving up in my car, taking a picture at the gate, like in the middle of the day, and then just driving off because I was like, well, I'm leaving here with something. So I guess I'll get a picture of the gate, because that's as close as I could get. So I've gotten very close to 2 race shops. I haven't gotten in either of them yet, but maybe one day I'll actually, breach the doors.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I when I had gotten the news or had heard the news that Stuart Haas was shutting down, I'm like, I go to my mom, I'm like, we got to go to the shop before they turn into Haas factory team or whatever they're called now, and their shell of their former self. So go there. All there is just the 4 cars lined up. You have the Andy's Frozen Custard car tucked in the corner next to the all the Haas automation stuff, and it's on the other side of the wall. In the back, right by the glass to see into the shop, is Kurt Busch's Daytona 500 car.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the gift shop, and that's it. And you can't even go into the shop without either having some kind of a prearranged tour, or if you know somebody.
Yeah. Oh,
I always wonder I'm sorry to cut you off. I always wonder, since they shut down, is they don't keep Kurt Busch's car, or can Kurt Busch take his the Daytona 500 win the car to his shop as a collectible?
That's something that I would want to know.
Yeah,
And I'll probably head up to the shop when when I don't have anything going on, and just kind of go over there, see what the front looks like now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm sure they want to have a complete rebrand, and like all of the stuff that was already in there, like when you went up there, or even before that, it has to be out. Like, and I'm sure like they let people who work there like pick and choose for some of that stuff, but I'm sure it all has to go. Like when you make a rebrand like that, like it has to be a fully clean slate, especially once the season starts.
Yeah. And the second thing that we did after saw Stuart Haas, went to see the Dale Earnhardt statue. That was one of the first two things that I wanted to do when I stepped foot in North Carolina. I'm like, I got it. I got to go see Stuart Haas, and I got to go see the Dale Earnhardt statue. And it's not the area around it has kind of encroached in a little bit. So it's, if you remember the Earnhardt documentary with where at the end Jeff Gordon is standing there with the statue. The area does not look like that anymore. It's surrounded by construction. There are new buildings going up. It's I don't know. Has it lost its luster because of that? No. It's because if you go around and you look on the in the bricks that they have around the whole thing, every single one of them are sponsored bricks. They have benches that are out there that are sponsored or donated or what have you. And then you sit there, stare. If you sit there on one of the ledges and you just stare at the statue, it's probably the most powerful feeling that you can get from that, because you're I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like I stand there, I'm like, man, I sit there, I'm like, man, he could just move at any minute because the statue looks that detailed. I'm like, it's a powerful and imposing figure that you're just staring at. And I'm like, man, you get a wink at all or something? Give me that, that little S-18 grin that you usually give everybody.
Right. It's funny. Like I think, we can't take it for granted. Like you living there, like I've been to Charlotte, I've run out of fingers and toes the number of times.
I never did.
I was getting to that. Hang on. I was gonna say that, and for fans who haven't had a chance or an opportunity to be there, across the country, around the world, who follow NASCAR, like I don't think there's a sport that has or owns a city, a metropolitan area like NASCAR does with Charlotte. Like it's just everywhere. Like, of course, like you have the teams, you have, NASCAR headquarters, you got the Hall of Fame, you've got the track, you've got, just so many things. You got, the statues, you come in off the highway and you see, the Dale Earnhardt Boulevard or something like that. There's streets named after him. I just think it's very unique in that no other city one has like every team in one place, right? Like the NFL is across the country, baseball, hockey, soccer, all those other sports. But like every team's HQ is within, 20 miles probably of each other for the most part, like just about like. I'll say 90% of them are like within 20 miles of each other. And, just the concentration of it in one place.
Yeah, I mean, there's still the team that's in Sandusky, Ohio.
Cedar Point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or no, what is that? That team that's in the one that Matt Crafton used to run for. I can't remember their name. Or no,
but still, like, yeah, I'd say 95%, of them are in one place. So I just find that very fascinating, and you really hit the nail on the head with that. Like, I think a statue like Dale's too, like it had to be there, right? Obviously, like the other statue in Daytona is amazing. I haven't seen that one in person yet, but like everything I've seen of it, it looks
cool.
amazing.
It's so cool.
But like it just is very, very powerful. Talk to me about like Joe, some of the tracks you've been to. So like obviously Chicago, obviously Charlotte. I think we can safely knock those off. But tell me, like, what are some of the tracks you've been to? Like, what's a great track for fans who've never been to a race, or maybe they've only been to one race that you've been to that you're like, this is worth the travel. This is worth booking the tickets, the flights, the hotels, whatever, the Ubers, and going.
Yeah, it could be anything like either IndyCar or
anything.
Okay, Road America, 100%. Like
okay.
I'm not even gonna hesitate there. It's one of the most beautiful, well-kept facilities in motorsports. European drivers love racing there because it reminds them a lot of the tracks back overseas. The track is actually a national park, so there's nothing is ever going to happen to it. It's going to be just as it is for years to come. You have series that run there, like IndyCar's there every year, and they come back like after a long hiatus from there. I think it was like at least like 10 years or something like that. They were away.
Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah,
I was there.
Wait, at Milwaukee?
Yeah, I was there. I was at the Saturday race.
Okay.
It was so fun.
And at Road America, there's not a single spot, or there's not a single bad spot there to watch a race.
Oh.
Like you could take a tram or hell, even drive your car from one spot, say like go from turn 3, and you can go up to let's see, you could take your car from turn 3 to turn 5, and with no issues, no problem whatsoever. And then from turn 5, you just walk right up the hill, all the way up to the gearbox. Excuse me, and which is a nice halfway point between the front stretch, turn 14 and turn 5, because you watch all 3 spots at once. You see cars going through turn 5. You know when they're coming because you could hear the echo in the through the trees, and it's a absolutely a beautiful sound, man. And then you watch them go through turn 5, go up the hill to 6, into 7, into 8, and then this kind of quiets down a little bit as they go through the carousel, going through the kink, then hitting. Then you start hearing the engines again, the exhaust again, coming into Canada Corner, go through Canada Corner, through Billy Mitchell Bend, going straight up to turn 14, and you see him coming through past the trees of Billy Mitchell to turn 14, coming right back up the hill. And it is the coolest thing you will ever see.
That's high praise. They need to hire you on their promotions, have you do an ad read for them.
Like I've never seen a bad race there. I've like I said earlier, I was there in 2000 for American Le Mans series. Had gone there every year for American Le Mans, IndyCar, kart, and then I went for NASCAR. I went for the WeatherTech International Challenge, which is their big vintage race. One of the more memorable ones was a few years ago when it was the same year that NASCAR was going, the Cup Series is coming back to Road America, and they had the feature with the WeatherTech International Challenge. They always have a feature car or a feature series. The year prior to this, they had the Can-Am series. So you had all these different Can-Am cars. You had the bright orange McLaren with the big burly Chevy V8. You had the OMP cars. I can't remember what type. The OMP Shadows. That's what they were. And and then the year next was all the vintage stock cars. So you had a Jimmy Johnson COT going up against a Gen 4 Bill Elliott Dodge Charger. And then you had a couple of Gen 6 cars. You had an 87 stock car going around as well. So, a mid-90s Aero Coupe or mid-80s Aero Coupe, and then some 90s stock cars. And the variety of motorsports during that weekend alone is so well worth the ticket, the hotel, everything. Best. And then, like I said earlier, with the gearbox, that you get to the track early, like right when practice starts, you go up there, sit down, have a coffee, have some scrambled eggs, sausage, pancakes, what have you, and just sit there, wake up to the sounds of motorsports.
That's a good sell, Joe.
Like,
it's a good sell.
If you could ever go to any, like, if I could go to any race at any time for an unlimited amount of money, I would 100% go back to, like, I wouldn't even go to a racetrack that I've never been to before. I'd go right back to Road America. I missed that track. I didn't go this past year. Or no, I did go last year. I'm not going to be able to go this year because travel is expensive, and it's 800. Yeah, it's 800 plus miles away, and I hope to get back there one time. But I've got other racetracks around me that I can go to. I got dozens of short tracks. I've got Charlotte. I got a couple road courses, VIR and Road Atlanta I can go to. But yeah, 100% Road America, number one, always will go to. It's the fan access as well is probably one of the best things that you'll ever see. For one weekend, when NASCAR is there, they close off the paddock. That does not happen with every other series that runs there. I don't know why NASCAR feels the need to close off a paddock that's open every single year or for every other race that's there.
Right.
You just walk right in during IndyCar weekend or vintage weekend or whatever, watch them work on the cars. I believe like if you're a young kid, they'll ask the parents if the kid wants to come sit in the car. They'll have the kids sit in the car, take some pictures, and just kind of go, "Ooh, what's this button do? What's this switch do?"
Yeah. That's the one thing. Like, me and Jarrett, one of the other regulars, co-hosts on the show, we were very fortunate to be able to be in the garage at Richmond and at North Wilkesboro. Sorry, I was blanking on that.
Lucky you.
And look, man, if you would have gotten on the plane, you would have had a chance too. Now,
if I had wanted to go on the plane, I'll go.
That's your business. Anyway, the point is, like, it's such a unique perspective that, like, I really wish more people could experience. Like, I feel, I don't know what's the word. It's not like envy, because like it's about, like, envy is like would be like them looking at us. Like, it's the opposite. Like, I want them to experience like what we're experiencing.
Yeah,
like being able to be in the garage and like see the cars up close and watch the teams work on them, before practice or before a race. Like, I just think it's such a cool experience, and like, that's half the magic of racing, right? Like, it's, you have this giant machine, right, that is the key contributor. Like, it's the most key contributor versus like team sports, right? And so being able to see like that, this monster being worked on, and almost like it's like a teammate you're talking to, right, where people are changing tires, they're adjusting it, working how you got the hood up. I just think it's such a cool visual and experience, and the sights, the smells, that whole experience. Like, it's just so unique. And I really wish it was more accessible from a NASCAR side to let people, so that you don't have to have like media credentials or be, the CEO of like, or company. Like, everyone around us was very rich, right? We were the poorest people around. A lot of money over there. And you know what? Like, I get it. Like, I think you should treat your sponsors well, but I just wish there's more opportunity for, like you said, like the kids to get into the car and stuff like that. And like, it clearly can work. Like you see in all these other series where they do something like that, or even like in F1, right? Like they let people like at some tracks get onto the track at the end of the race after it's over, something like that. Even I just feel like, we need to have a little bit of a lower fence, a lower wall when it comes to that kind of access. And I'm not saying it has to be completely open all weekend long, but I just feel like there's some happy medium in between there. You know what I mean? And I think, like you said, like you can make a lifelong, like that kid that you mentioned is a lifelong fan after that.
Yep.
Like they're hooked forever after that. So
yeah. And like you were saying, like other tracks that I've been to, like I've been to Indianapolis about 4 or 5 times. I've been to went to Charlotte this year. Went to Talladega. I've been to Daytona for the 5, or actually for all 3 races to start the year off in 2021. What else? I'm going to Richmond this year, 100%, not missing that. Went to Martinsville for the first time ever this past year. And actually I've been to Martinsville twice because I went for the MX5 the MX5 race. That was a wild race. That thing was awesome.
Yeah, no, that one looked crazy on TV even. And Martinsville is one of my favorite tracks, both in person and as just a fan watching. I love that place so much.
Yeah, and it's like going back to access and fan access and whatnot. Like there are better ways for NASCAR to be able to get to allow fans access to, into the garage area to see everything. I mean, I went to Talladega and I got contacted by Xfinity to get VIP passes from them, and I can't remember what year it was. 2016. And just got contacted on Twitter. It's like, hey, you want to come into the garage area or have VIP passes on us? Or like, sure. We had about as much access as a driver into the Xfinity garage, on the pit road during Cup practice, during Cup qualifying. Like that was like one of the coolest experiences of my life as a NASCAR fan. Like that was super, super cool. And I wish everybody could experience that without being a family of a sponsor or having friends in motorsports, which, by the way, I highly recommend to everybody. Find a friend that is in the industry or is part of a team. And if they work as a crew member on the team, say, hey, can you pass me, I know you're coming to a track that's close to me. Can I get a VIP pass? 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to get access. You're going to get a VIP pass. Like that's honestly the best way to do it, because I did it for Martinsville this past year, and I did it for the Xfinity Roval this past year as well.
Yeah. Gotta find those inside roads, right? Those connections.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So
sir.
before we let you go, I have one last question for you. You mentioned.
Not trying to cut you off, Art. Make that 2 questions. I want actually one last quick question too. Go ahead.
Sure, bud.
Sorry about that.
All right. So you mentioned Knoxville Nationals earlier, and at the time of our recording, there's a certain dirt event that is wrapping up, or has wrapped up maybe by now, that has been going on this week with the Chili Bowl. And I just want you to share, because I feel like, for me, it's hard. As like I admit, like I'm a NASCAR purist in the sense like that is 90% of the racing I watch, which is probably not a good thing. I will be the first to it. It's probably not the best for me. And like 9% of that remainder are like F1. So I have not been exposed to a ton of dirt racing in my fandom. So I'm just curious because every year we hear about the Chili Bowl. We see so many drivers go, like Larson, Ty Gibbs, I think was there this year. Christopher Bell's been a bunch. There's a couple other folks that I'm blanking on right now.
Kyle Busch and
maybe
throwback. And there's a throwback named Todd Cleaver, who was one of the few drivers that was, I believe, part of Roush Racing's Gong Show. And
I remember that.
Yep, he drove in 4 races in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, the number 06
for Mustang.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. The number 06 3M, the 3M Ford Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
It's a stupid random NASCAR knowledge that I've got swimming up in my autistic brain.
Joe, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Don't go paint scheme for paint scheme with Bonte, because he got the memory of an elephant when it comes to those paint schemes. I tell you, he has them all. So anyway, hang on. Let me get my question.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
So my question for you is like, I imagine there's a fair number of our fans who listen to the show who may be in the same boat as me. Like, we only watch NASCAR. Talk about the importance of this event, because there's one thing to hear like, oh, this is a big event that's going on, but I think something that kind of gets lost a little bit is like the importance to the fans, to the drivers, to the teams of this event. So can you just tell us like why is it important? Why does it matter? Why should people keep this on their radar? Why is it worth watching, spending their time on?
Well, it's the short end of it is that some of the future stars of NASCAR have actually come out of recently. Well, I'd say within the last 10 years or so, out of midget cars, sprint cars, and stuff like that. I mean, look, I'm wearing a Kyle Larson hoodie that is actually from printed by Kane Screen Print for the Chili Bowl Nationals this year. Now, like Kyle Larson came from midgets. Christopher Bell came from there. Kyle Busch is getting into it finally. But a lot of your future stars of motorsports, the future stars of NASCAR are coming out of this, because this is like the next step up from quarter midgets or from or the micro late models or the go-karts. And this is the series that or this is the type of racing that can make or break their career. It's either they go off and become a superstar in motorsports, and they go run ARCA, they go run trucks, they go run whatever, Cars Tours, Trans Am, and then somehow they either end up in NASCAR, they end up in endurance racing, or they end up in IndyCar. It's very important to pay attention to some of these drivers. One of the big notable names is Ricky Thornton Jr. The man can drive the wheels off of anything. And I've seen him from Tulsa Shootout from 2 weeks ago, going from the back all the way up to the front, almost and winning in a late mod or winning in I think that was also a midget race, but it's another race. Then he ran before that. It was late models indoors. He ended up winning that. It's like this guy, like I said, he could drive the wheels off of anything. Right. Kaylee Bryson, that's another name that's starting to pick up some speed. She is fire. She's so good, so talented.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited to see where her career takes off to. Another one, Brexton Bush. That is like, he started off at Millbridge, go-karts, quarter midgets, and he's starting to make his way up to he's run Bandoleros. I think he is due for another Bandolero run this year. Doing summer shootout. That's another race that everybody should pay attention to, because sometimes you'll see a crossover of people that were in midgets or in dirt coming over to try asphalt. There are a bunch of names that were running Chili Bowl, running Tulsa Shootout, or running the Gateway Dirt Nationals late model races. And for the life of me, I can't remember a lot of their names, but just those 3 to 4 names that are future stars are ones to pay attention to, because you can go watch these other series like Cars Tour or Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series or World of Outlaws. Pick out and pick a driver, and then they're just going to stick there or stay there, and Lucas Oil or World of Outlaws, and those are the guys that are going to be running the top series there in sprint cars and dirt and late models. But you pick a driver, say like, I'm going to pick Kaylee Bryson, follow her entire career, see where she goes, pay attention to her on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever, follow them, and then they'll kind of start giving hints of where they're going to go in their life, where they're going to go in their career. And I think Kaylee, no, it wasn't Kaylee Bryson that's going to be driving Trans Am. It's this other kid that just got signed for Trackhouse. He's a 14-year-old kid. Tristan McKee got signed.
I saw that, yeah.
This kid got signed. He's 14 years old from Williamsburg, Virginia, as a Spire developmental driver. That's another good way to follow your favorite driver, follow drivers now and watch them come up in their career. This kid's running 50 some odd events this year between ARCA, full Cars Tour schedule, Trans Am, and I think he might run some dirt races. Who knows? But yeah, follow in the lower ranks of motorsports and dirt. Dirt is where these kids learn car control. And Larson is a great example of that. If you go back to Chicagoland Speedway, the battle between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, and a lot of the techniques, a lot of the driving habits that Larson had, he had learned that in dirt, midget cars, sprint cars, what have you. He was able to translate that into a Gen 6 car where the announcers were saying, like, he's riding the cushion. It's getting that right rear tire buried in between the slick stuff and that big mound of dirt that's in between the car and the wall. And he's able to translate that into the top level of NASCAR. But yeah, follow this series. I swear to God, it's also got to be some of the best racing you'll see, all year. And then you go watch NASCAR. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great.
Well, my beef with NASCAR runs deep with this car, so we'll save that for another day.
I'm not even gonna get into it.
Gen 7 has been a Gen dud for me. But go ahead, Bonte. I think you got one more, and then we'll close this out.
Last question for you. Are you a diecast collector or no? I'm sorry, I have to ask that.
Oh, that's funny. Hang on 1 second. So I went to Racing Warehouse one day, won a couple of their Facebook auctions, and won 2 things, but they didn't take the shipping off because I told them I was going to go pick them up or pick up the items. So I picked up the items, and they said, okay, any die cast on there on this one section, I could take 2 of. One of the die casts was this beautiful Dale Jr. rookie car. And this Team Caliber owner's gold Mark Martin Viagra car.
Oh, that's fired. That's amazing.
So I've got more than this. they are sitting in my closet in boxes. I have my diecast cases. I have 3 of them. They're the ones that they're plexiglass and they have them kind of angled and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to drill any more holes in the wall here than I already have. So I have, I think the most prized possession that I have in my diecast collection is probably a Ford Torino number 11 that was driven by Mario Andretti. The car is signed by Mario. The certificate of authenticity is signed by Mario. And the box that the car came in is also signed by Mario. That's
amazing, man.
Dude, like that. And I've got more than that. I've got like Harvick, Senior, Junior, Terry Labonte. I got Ernie Irvin. I've got pictures somewhere on my phone, and Art, I will send them to you after this. But yeah, I am trying to slow down on diecast collecting. I love diecast. I have a huge beef, however, with Lionel. The quality of the car is not where it was during Gen 6.
It's funny how you said that because me and Art also got the same beef with Lionel. Even though I'm planning on buying Christopher Bell's Daytona win and his Coach's Turn win, I still have beef with them because holy hell, they are terrible. I'm sorry.
Like the Gen 4 Cup cars, like one of my favorite Gen 4 Cup cars that I've got is Harvick's first Brickyard 400 win. It has a tire that is completely blown apart. It's got damage on the sheet metal, and that's physical damage that you can feel on the diecast. What do they do with that? Like, what the hell did they do with it now? Oh, they just it's no. Like I was waiting for Eric Jones. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
I was waiting for that Eric Jones blood shootout special where the whole front end is just caved in, where Denny Hamlin pushing into the wind. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a badass diecast, and I can't wait to purchase it. And then we see the render for it, and it's like they didn't even do anything with the sheet metal. It's just a sticker.
They did the same for Kurt Busch's Martinsville win in 2014. I was not happy about that because at the side it was okay then on the side, but when you see the diecast part, it is black, but the scheme paint. I'm like, what is this?
Yep,
awful.
I love diecast. Don't get me wrong, I love diecast, but
me too, man.
That's not the way you do it. There needs to be another company that actually can, make Lionel actually work hard for their fans and actually bring damage back to diecast. Hashtag that. Bring damage back to diecast.
I agree.
Yeah, I think a little competition would go a long way, and I'd be very happy to see it. Yeah, well, I'm in the same boat as you. We have to end it there because if we start talking about diecast, we're going to go another 3 hours. Because I was going to say, we're in the same boat as you, Joe, and I'm in the process of trying to downsize and put stuff on eBay and sell to friends and all that, and it's just not. It ain't like it used to be. Right.
Yeah. Well, I still got 2 diecasts. I'm planning on buying one Art in February. I'm excited about those. Though.
Yeah. So, Joe, I think that's about all. We don't want to talk your ear off anymore tonight. Is there anything you want to leave the people? Shout out socials, anything that you want to let them know about?
Follow me on Twitter. At Lugnuts Hub. It used to be my Twitch name, and now I don't stream anymore. So I am on Blue Sky, or as I call better, Twitter. That's pretty much about it. I gotta give shout out to my mom because she didn't have to move to North Carolina with me, but I'm like, Ma, who's going to take care of you? in your later years, she's almost 80 years old, and I've got a dog that's 12 years old. She doesn't act like it though. I'm trying to help take care of my mom, make sure she's just living this nice carefree life in retirement. So there's a big shout out to her for making that huge move from Chicago that she's known since the 40s down here to North Carolina.
Shout out to the moms, man. Let's end it right there, man. Shout out to
the moms. Yeah,
we appreciate you. Although I'm gonna put this at the outro. My mom always asks me how the podcast is going, and she goes, "Are you still recording?" And I said, "That just tells me you ain't listening." But that's a story for another day. That's a story for another day. Joe, we appreciate you coming on. Congrats again.
Thank you.
There's an open invite. We'd love to have you back on in the future. This was awesome.
Absolutely. I'll keep you updated as to that new job potential. I won't say it in the recording. I'll tell you, after we close things out, I'll let you know. But
right, sounds good.
Job opportunity, I will definitely want to come back. After this thing I hope works out.
Well, look, the door is open. We look forward to having you back on. And so with that, folks, we're going to end it here. If you made it this far in the recording, we appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to take another couple weeks off. This was our January episode. We'll be back, though, because the NASCAR off season is dwindling. There are already some murmurs about, the Daytona race coming. And before you know it, we'll be in full swing. And once the season starts, the vibes will be back with you. So until then, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.